My first car. What do you say? You know, I've received hundreds of letters asking me about my first car, and the irony is I own the world's greatest car shop, and yet my own first car has been sitting in storage for 20 years. It's time to get it out. I'm gonna face some embarrassing moments with this car because I restored it when I was a teenager. My budget was less than $500. I was in the Army they call it a full bird private, which is a Spec 4. I was a Spec 4, no money, could barely pay my electric bill, had a wife, 2 kids, and yet still had this passion and desire to restore a car. So the guys are gonna uncover some stuff that we today laugh at when we find on cars. I know there's gonna be plenty of opportunities for them to laugh at me. Car has been sitting for decades without anybody looking at it, so there's a lot that we're gonna keep finding.
Hi, I wanted to introduce myself, Dan the Parts Man, helping get Jamar here some parts for the Camaro so that he can go ahead and get these replaced and get everything repainted out.
Not that it's an excuse, but I was broke. And when I say broke when I did this restoration, let me explain something. Paying my electric bill was a decision I had to make, or buying an intake manifold. And sometimes the electric bill won, sometimes it didn't. What's kind of fun for me is the fact that Mitch is just a little bit older than I was when I restored this car. So it's kind of a little bit of the passing of the torch. Mitch now gets an opportunity to take over where I left off, and hopefully he does better work than I did.
Dan's first car when he was 18. Jamar, can you tell me a little bit about what you think about working on Dan's car?
I'm gonna try over the loud noise in the background, but I mean, this is a real inspiring type of vehicle to work on. Dan is somebody I've been actually looking up to for a long time. Watched the show growing up for about 10 years now, and always wished that I could always work for Dan and be here at FantomWorks trying to restore vehicles. And I'm working a dream right now. It's an honor to work on his first vehicle that Dan ever owned. I never had a vehicle this old, but when I had a first vehicle, my first vehicle was 92 or more. You know, to have a 60-something Camaro is something special to have, and now to actually be working on Dan's first vehicle is actually special to me. So, yeah.
Mitch, what do you think about it?
It's pretty cool, you know. If this was Dan's car when he was 18, I'm only 4 or 5 years older than him. You know, apparently he restored this when he was 18 in a little bit of a smaller shop, so to be able to have access to all these utilities and knowledge, it's going to be interesting to see how well it comes out having better resources now, 30 plus years later. So it's cool, it's fun, love it.
So one of the things I want to do for the guys is to give them an opportunity to build the car without Dan Short sort of being in the mix. So as much as possible, I'm staying out of the build. And I know that sounds counterintuitive because this is my first car, and if anything, I should be heavily into the build. But I think that's very intimidating for my guys. Probably already tough for them to deal with the fact that this is like the car that started everything. So my best opportunity is to stay away and let them build it. And if they make a few mistakes, I'm just gonna let it roll. And if they do great things, I'm going to congratulate them. And if they really do something horrible, I'll probably stop them, but I don't expect that to happen.
All right, so I think you're set here. That should be everything, the radiator support, got the battery, and I put the inner fender over on the side there.
Okay.
So the Dynacorn, so it's really good quality. Let me know if you need anything more.
All right, thank you.
I'm sure they found a few things in the car that at this point, they're just busting at the seams to laugh at me and post on Facebook, but I'm pretty sure they're just being polite because so far nobody's come to me and has said the thing that they should, which is what the Mitch just came to me and actually apologized for what he unearthed in the quarter panel. Yeah, I'm the guy that left that there, so I'm not sure why he's apologizing to me. But while we decide what to do with the quarter, I told him, hey, just take a look at the hood and start getting it sanded down and ready for paint.
Finding any surprises? I see it looks like there's some rust spots that are on there.
There was definitely some surprises. I'm not sure if it was the previous owner or who did it, but instead of properly welding and patching it from the rear, they decided to fill the whole crap with Bondo or polyester. So now we had to break it all out, sand it all out, grind it all out, and now we're going to make the new brackets, put it in from the rear, and then you can actually have yourself a solid piece instead of having to worry about the rustle eating through or weather or a rock or there's no telling.
Well, further inspection, I noticed there's a few cracks underneath there that I wanted to handle before we put the LS3 in it.
The approach I want on this car is not going to be a classic FantomWorks approach. We're not tearing it down to nothing. We're not sandblasting it. We're not doing all those things because that was already done at one point. And I know on the quarter panels, they're a little rough. We're going to cut those out and replace them. But I've already done a full tear down on it, 40 years ago. So at this point, I'm going to let the guys do what I would consider more of a makeover than a full FantomWorks restoration. Why? It costs a lot of money to do full FantomWorks restoration, and in this case, I'll be happy with the results that I get out of a really nice makeover. Jamie came to us. He's not a classic car guy yet, but he's learning. I've asked him to start by getting rid of that old quarter panel so we can put a new one in place. Jamie's taken off the quarter panel. Now it's Davey's turn. He's going to put in a new outer wheel housing and then weld the new quarter panel in place and hopefully get this car one step closer to bodywork. Davey's got the quarter panel pretty much welded in place. He's going to do a little bit of really surgical kind of sanding on the welds to make them as beautiful as possible, and then it's time for this car to, as much as I want to see it go into bodywork, it's going to get the engine installed first. So now I've got to wait like an expectant father waiting for his first child to be born. As much as I really love the thought of an LS3 going into this car, that's not as exciting to me as the step that's going to lead to this car being painted again. It was once black and was so shiny you could shave in any panel. And I know that this time Jamie's going to do that. And for me, it's a waiting game, so it's going to be a little bit tough. Stay with us for the next chapter. From time to time, God delivers someone to our shop that turns out to be a great employee. Mitch was on his way, learning fast, having fun, and he'd even conquered his anxiety of masking tape. We're pretty sure he was always up to something.
You gonna tell him? I'm not telling Dan. Well, you can tell Dan.
Well, I guess I'm gonna do the dirty work then.
Works for me, you shot it.
FantomWorks had all too brief a moment with Mitch. We're pretty sure he's souping up God's Harley in heaven.